It's more than 50% of the people are definitely seeing people before they go on the show.
How much of it is just kind of horniness?
That's going to come out.
Did you ever hear about the producers change the reality in any sort of way?
And then when I got on Paradise,
I did not know that.
I know some things. This is going to be very similar to season.
Well, that is a tease and a half. Thank you.
Oh my word.
We are here with Dan Cox from Bachelor season 9 with Desiree, and then Bachelor in Paradise season 2. You were one of the guinea pigs.
I think the first real season of Paradise, because the first season 1 wasn't like, they didn't know what they were doing.
So let's start with Bachelorette.
Okay.
Why did you choose to go on the show?
My buddy's wife submitted me. I had no idea. And so literally one day I just got a call from the casting agency and they're like, hey, we got the submission. We think you'd be great for the show. And I'm like, I thought it was a joke. And I got a call, I guess it was probably like a month later, and they set me up for the finals, which is locked up in a hotel room for a weekend, and you do all the tests. It was the, drug test, STD test, psychoanalysis test, meeting with the shrink. And I was like, I better get this thing. So, and then they called me the next week and were like, we want you on. So that was it.
Do you watch the show still ever?
Yeah, we're watching the season. So
are you ever like, God, with all those psych tests I had to take, how did this person get through?
So it's the crazy thing about it is you do the psych test, and that's, to me, that's like it's like if you're legitimate crazy. We have the shrink that monitors, the doctor that monitors the whole time you're on. So she's actually watching the whole show. She's like with the editors. And like making sure, like seeing your state. And then you actually have a meeting with her, kind of like an exit interview, after you're off the show, to make sure you're okay. And like, you didn't have, any issues with producers or cast or anything else. So
I did not know that.
The crazy thing is when you go back on, so I got invited back on, I guess that was 3 years after, like they literally sit you down and she reads off like a rap sheet of like everything that happened on the season and how I reacted and what like my like mental state was on the show, and like wants to know if like everything's still the same and if I'm going to feel comfortable going back into it. And it was like literally laid out like things that I had never told her that she had picked up, and nuances she's like taking up. Like she could write the most amazing book. It's the same doctor that's been on, I think, for like at least the last like 8 years.
That's so interesting. We want to know about the NDA that you had to sign, the non-disclosure agreement, but let's talk about that later.
Contract's up. We're good.
At what point did you find out it was Desiree?
The producers play it how they want to. So I know now, knowing what I know, some of the guys had been looking forward to her being the Bachelorette. Some guys didn't know or didn't care. And I was kind of one that really didn't care. So I was in the hotel room, and the producers came into my hotel room when after the final rose was airing, and they brought Desiree out for the first time. So, and then that's how I found out, is literally 3 days before I was going to the mansion in the limo.
You're in the mansion. She's off. Desiree's off on a date with someone else. What are you doing?
Nothing. We're just hanging out. Like, so we'll do workouts. There's no TV. There's no radio. You're not allowed to have books. You literally have no idea what's going on in the outside world. And so you just literally are interacting with the guys. And that's why like the guys become, and girls too, become such good friends. You're literally living with these people and you have nothing. You're like forced to interact with them because there's nothing else going on.
Did you feel like you needed to talk about Desiree a lot?
You didn't have a choice. You had to. So, and that was the thing, is the kind of genius of the show is because there's no outside distractions. There's no one, you can't talk to your buddies like, oh, I'm dating this girl. What do you think? And here's how I'm feeling. You're talking to the producers every day for at least, you're probably in the ITM rooms with a producer for like 2 hours a day total. So every cast member, 2 hours a day, and the producers are just asking you about this one person. So you're laser focused in on them. And so you start like, whether you really like them or not, you start believing that you do, because that's all you're doing is talking about them. And it's the only girl in the room. Like, that's it. So it's like, it's the total, like, deserted island. Like, you're going to end up dating this person because they're the only person there. So it's all these, emotions. And then they bring in the, competition aspect of, well, this guy's going on this date, or this guy kissed her, and how do you feel about that? And so you start building up this mentality of like, I really like this girl and want to be with her. And there's obviously people that genuinely do. But a lot of times when you get off the show, you kind of realize like, oh, now that I'm in my regular life, like I'm okay.
Yes. Well, so ITMs, in case people don't understand, that's in the moment interviews, right? Where they take you to the side and say, okay, speak in the present tense, tell us what's going on, that kind of thing. But when you talk about the being, only having one of the opposite gender around all of the, this group of either men or women, hormones, I mean, how much of it is just kind of horniness and wanting to...
Literally, it's more of like a focus thing. It's kind of like a healthy, it's semi-healthy, right? Like if you have no outside distractions, you can literally spend all your time focusing in on this one thing. Granted, it's a weird scenario because there's 25 other guys doing the same thing. That's why some of the dates are so awkward, because you're just like, I just don't know what to say. Like, I've been thinking about you for so long. Like, what, like, hi. Like, and then you only really have in the beginning, like one interaction a week.
Random, but what did you think about Luke telling her that he loved her he knew her for 48 hours?
Super awkward. I can see why he would say that. And I could see how that could I don't know the guy, but he's obviously, got a couple, issues. So, being supercharged in that moment, the show is a pressure cooker. So whatever you are, whatever kind of person you are, however you would act in normal life, it's literally condensed and pressurized to force that out. So if you're a really good guy, that's going to come out. If you're an asshole, that's going to come out. If you're super possessive, that's going to come out. And that's what I think his issue was, basically.
Did you ever get to use producers' phones in your downtime to listen to music or anything?
No.
Okay. People with kids like Juan Pablo, could he use the phone to FaceTime?
So they can, the guys that had kids were allowed to go off. We never saw it, but they were allowed to go out. And so probably after an ITM or something like that, use a producer's phone.
Did you ever hear about the producers asking anyone to reenact a scene or change the reality in any sort of way?
No, that's probably the most common question I get asked is how much is produced. And it's the production and the casting is so good that they know when they get certain people in a room, they're going to get something out of it. And then when you go into an ITM, they're going to ask you questions. And a lot of times why things may not seem, or why is that person talking about that person so much? It's they're getting asked about them. So you have to answer. And that's where everything kind of comes out in those ITMs is you're getting asked, how do you feel when so-and-so does this? How do you feel when, did you know that so-and-so, kissed them on the first date? And so that's why you're getting all these reactions, but they're just so good at knowing, I used to think that the show was very, very produced. I used to think there was a lot behind the scenes going on. And then when I got on Paradise and you're more closer to the day-to-day and you're around producers more, you realize they just let it go. They just let this thing happen, let go of the wheel. And then wherever the car drives, they're just going to document it, basically. It is a very, reactionary production.
Do you think, though, that the production on Paradise is different than that on Bachelor and Bachelorette, or no, you just got a closer view?
I just think you're around them more, and it's more interactive. On the Bachelorette, it's everyone's first rodeo from the guy standpoint, right? So we don't know how to act. We don't know what's going on. It's awkward when you're on camera and there's, boom mics around you, and it's just weird. And then when you go on Paradise, you've been through it before. It's much more of a normal life, communicating with multiple people, and there's more time where the producers are around and you're friends with them now, so it's easier to just talk. And there's no there really wasn't much of that, because you're around them so much, it's not like they can do things behind your back and create scenarios. They're just literally have this environment. It's like a petri dish. It's just a petri dish. They throw some bacteria in it, and then whatever grows, and that's the show.
I love that analogy. That's great. There is some serious bacteria this year.
Oh, God.
This season.
Yeah,
okay, let's talk about the NDA.
Okay.
I want to know, how long does it last? How long are you not allowed to speak?
I think so things have changed. When I was first on The Bachelorette, it was hardcore, super enforced. So I'm trying to think, when we got into the hotel room, they sat us down with the ABC lawyer, or maybe it was the NKZ, the production company. They walked us through the NDA, and it was maybe 2 years. And it was super intense. We couldn't, and social media had just come out. So like Instagram had just come out. Twitter was, people were using it, but didn't really know what it was. You had to shut off all your social media accounts. You had to delete them. So you had to be off social media until the episode aired where you got kicked off, and then you turn it back on. So that's how it used to be. Then like ABC and the production company, they realized how much value, like what social media was doing. They're creating these celebrities basically. And that was just another arm for them to promote the show. So I think it was probably 2 seasons after mine of The Bachelorette is when they really started kind of leaning in towards social media and allowing people to be on, and producers would send you like behind the scenes stuff before the episode would air so you could release it. But ours was like super, I remember getting emails of like, we heard so-and-so was talking, like if we find anything else, like we will enact, basically sue you for, and it's a lot. It's like,
yeah. What is the penalty? What is it? Like
millions of dollars. It's basically the ad revenue for the show. Because it's in their thought process and in the lawyer's thought process, if you leak anything, then you're compromising the viewership and the ad dollars coming in. So, I mean, it was millions of dollars.
How about Reality Steve, though? It's almost like his existence kind of boosts the show or something. I don't know.
It was very, like, high charged when I was on The Bachelor. I remember people talking about him. There was rumors that, like, producers or grips or lighting were, like, getting, like, pulled aside and, like, basically like interrogated by the lawyers to see like who was leaking things to him. Now with social media, I think he gets a lot from like the show now. It is like they like those teasers. So where they usually would hide from, like in the past, they would hide from public events because they didn't want to show who was on a date with who, especially like a couple weeks in. Now they like announce it and they tweet it out and like, hey, if anyone wants to see The Bachelorette with 8 guys, come to this event. And everyone's posting about it. And so I think now he gets a lot more information from the public because it's pretty widely available.
So was the NDA different, though, a couple seasons later when you did Bachelor in Paradise?
Yeah. So it was only 6 months, I believe. And it definitely wasn't as intense. Like it was very, like it was understood. You don't talk about the show, but it was definitely like social media accounts, leave them on, like there was no worries about from that standpoint. Now, with how big the show is and what they do, they're almost, instead of like pressuring you not to post from like a legal standpoint or not to like leak things, it's more of like you'll be blackballed from the franchise and like people still want to be invited to events and all that stuff. So it's just kind of known, like you just don't do that stuff because you want to be in good graces with, like, it's good people. And like I'm still friends with some of the producers and cast. And so it's nice being invited back to certain things. And I think that's kind of their pressure point now.
So on Desiree's season, Brian was kicked off for having a girlfriend. Yep. And you said that you've been watching Hannah's season. So what is your take on Jed?
So I have a very unique take on this. I don't think it's a big deal. And the reason is everyone on the show is A-type personality. They're attractive. Like everyone who goes on is dating before they go on the show. They just are. So whether it's a girlfriend or someone you're dating or seeing, like I would say at least it's more than 50% of the people are definitely seeing people before they go on the show. And a lot of times you don't know you're getting cast or you're going to go until like 3 weeks before. So my whole take on it is, and here's the other part. Hannah is dating 25 guys. Why is it such a big deal that this one guy was dating another girl, or 2 girls, I guess he was dating?
We don't really know.
But he was dating, right? So why is it's such a double standard? And it's the same thing when there's a bachelor and there's bachelorettes and a girl has a guy back home. It's like, really, does it matter? Because in real life, when you're dating, you're not like in a relationship. You're most likely dating multiple people. The show, you're dating multiple people. The girl is dating multiple people. So to me, it's like one of those things like, really, is it that big of a deal? Like you just got done making out with 10 dudes within 2 days and he was dating someone before, but he left and now he's on the show and dating you and seeing how it goes.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
I am very emotionless about that whole concept.
Okay. I mean, I actually agree with Everyone's dating. I said the other day, I feel like, 70% of the people that come on have somebody.
Exactly.
Okay. Actually, what percentage would you say have someone who's a Jed Haley level where they've been dating for 4 months and he has said, I love you? That's the thing, is he told her that he loved her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, what's his name said, I love you in 2 days. So you take that for what it's worth. But I think, and I don't know, like you hear things after the show. So after we get off and it's like, oh yeah, so-and-so had a boyfriend, so-and-so had a girlfriend. And it's like, okay, like fine. Like, so I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say at least 50% are like dating. Like they're not sitting at home doing nothing for 2 months before they go on the show.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Well, I think now's the perfect time to bring in Natalie Tenerelli.
On that note.
There she is.
Look at this gorgeous creature. Hi, Nat.
Hi.
So, in case people don't know, Natalie Tenerelli was actually on Survivor. You were the youngest ever finalist, 2011, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you came in as a second runner-up. And now we've got this match. Well, second runner-up, right?
Third.
Well, second runner-up. You were third.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dan, the voice of reason.
I'm getting excited right now. I was third.
So I want to know how you two met.
So on Desiree's season, there was a guy named Mikey Tenerelli. Mm-hmm. And someone on Twitter, someone reached out to you guys.
Someone on Twitter connected me to Mikey and said, are you and Mikey Tenerelli siblings, or are you guys related? And then he invited me to, it was like a party.
It was our rap party after Mintel All.
Mikey took me around and he introduced me to everybody, which I don't really remember meeting Dan. I ended up kind of dating another guy from the show for a short period of time. And that didn't really work out.
Everyone's dating everyone. So that's when Instagram just come out. And I saw after the rap party, there was a bunch of photos of all the guys together and random stuff.
We took this funny photo of like a bunch of Bachelor guys and a few of my friends, and we were all making funny faces. And yeah, it was right when Instagram kind of was starting to blow up. And
so I saw this girl and I clicked on it and I was like, Natalie Tenerelli. I'm like, Mikey's sister's hot. So I started following her thinking it was Mikey's sister. And so and then she followed me back. We followed each other for probably 3 years without ever connecting. Just like assumed.
Creepy,
really creepy. And then I was getting cast for Bachelor in Paradise. So I was going out to LA to do testing to see if they would want me on. And she came down, picked me up. We went out. And then she was like, listen, here's the deal. I'm just going to be upfront with you. In 3 weeks, I'm leaving for Survivor. And so I'm like, oh, cool. Now that we're in the trust tree, there's a good chance I'm going on Bachelor in Paradise. So this will work out fine. Natalie was like, go do your own thing. I'm going on Survivor.
Yeah. And then what happens next?
So Wednesday, she goes on and it was a live voting. It had been building up to vote people season. Yeah. And so we just assumed she was going on. So the live voting happened. So she has to give up her phone and we're like, cool, bye. I may be engaged in a month and you may be a millionaire. So that was it.
That would have been nice.
So, oh, really? So,
on my end.
So anyways, I'm literally watching live TV and Jeff is going through the audience and all right, so you are going on and you are not going on. And then it was Natalie Tenerelli, you are not going on. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, now I'm the asshole because I'm still going. So she didn't go on. And then, 2 days later, I left for Paradise.
Yeah, it was a low point for me because I didn't realize how much I liked him until the Survivor deal was kaput. And then I was like, shoot.
I remember because we got together during that time and you were, I guess it's fine to tell him now, but yeah, you were super into him and you were in this position where you're like, I like him so much, and we were dating and then he goes off and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I stayed on the whole time on Paradise. And she knew the timing. So
Yeah.
Like she knew I either was with someone or like I had been with people, obviously.
Well, Natalie, watching Bachelorette now, what's your take being the girl who's kind of at home and has no idea what the guy's doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with Dan, but I think there is a certain level of, like you can, define it however you want. But I mean, for me, I feel that what we did was healthy and what we did was right. And he didn't do anything wrong. Like he was very honest with me and it was just all on the table. So I don't know the terms exactly. Like I need to know, like, did they have a conversation of being exclusive? Was there, like, there's a lot of things I would need to know in order to define whether or not I think it's right or not. And I think that there's always a level of like, I can get a little fame out of this or I can get a little attention. I can get some followers.
I also
Maybe
think
I'll get myself on Paradise. Who
but
knows?
I think it's the flip side of it too, is like maybe they want attention, but also I think there's a jealousy factor that comes in of this person's getting this person's like on national TV now. Like, what did I do? I'm missing out. Like, I need this person back in my life. And so almost like, I think a jealousy thing.
What he doesn't know is that I had a plan. If he were not going to come back to me, I would have done
blown the
exactly
lid
what
off
Haley
it.
did.
Yeah. She's ready.
Because Haley and Jed are both performers, there's that whole element to it too.
She knew he was still going on, like even if he said like, hey, I'm just going on to promote my music, that's fine. But maybe he did actually fall in love with her, like that can happen.
Well, I like that you're speculating that though, because we still haven't officially heard from him. And a lot of people are kind of jumping down his neck and attacking him. But I like this open-mindedness that you guys have got going on here because we don't really know.
Yeah. And what rules are, like, who wrote these rules that, this is how you have to do it. And like, everyone can live their own life. So
reality TV world is like an incestuous pool of weirdness. So tell us about that. I know that like Survivor people get invited to the like Bachelor people's parties and all of this stuff. What is that like?
For me, it was like right after the show, there was so many charity events and like you're meeting tons of people, and then that obviously died off. It's been a while for me, but
it's one of those things like you're in the limelight while your season's airing and until the next season airs. It's cool. Like everyone, if you've done reality TV, you've had an experience where part of your life is documented. And I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Well, you guys have the most unique meeting story and like intertwined in reality TV. So when you have children and grandchildren, are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them about this? I mean, it's just so cool. It's so nobody else has the story.
We're a couple years out from that. But
and it's cool that we have like these experiences that are literally like they're going to be available forever. Like
I mean, I'll do what I did with Dan. He really hasn't ever watched my full season, which
she shows me the episodes that she like killed challenges and like dominated.
Two, which were like two.
Yeah.
We've watched those two episodes and that's it.
And I'm the opposite. I haven't wanted her to watch any of mine, but she's watched every single one.
Well, that's a guy-girl thing. I mean, I understand that.
Want you to watch
and the concept of my show versus her shows. Who
do you guys think should be the next Bachelor?
I liked Mike. I think he was my favorite. I think he was the most genuine.
Yeah. Yes.
He was so sweet.
Yeah.
He was my favorite.
At every season, they do a good job of, as soon as a person is decided who's going to be the next Bachelor, they will start giving them very good edits, giving them a lot of FaceTime, right? And you'll start to see little negative shots at the Bachelorette. Like, she's still the Bachelorette. Still have to have her on a pedestal, but it's going to make her not as good because we now have to promote this new person. If you watch now with that kind of lens, you'll notice like she's not portrayed as like the almighty Bachelorette anymore.
Well, she's about to have sex twice in a windmill. I mean, come on.
Wait, did she have sex with two people?
No, but she said they did it twice.
But that's the other thing too, though, right? Like, she's having sex with someone and then dating other guys. Is Jed that bad of a guy? Like, everyone's hating on him, and here's the deal, though. The unfortunate part, and it happened with Caitlyn, there's going to be a lot of hate going towards Hannah for this too, which is undeserving. because again, she's dating people. She can have sex if she wants,
This
and
has
it's
been
quick-witted.
my least favorite season.
I
Yeah.
know some things, and I think this is going to be very similar to Ari's season, where people hated on the season the whole time it was going on, but then the last episode hit and it was fireworks.
Oh, damn, that is a tease and a half. Thank you.